Brittany Compton, co-founder and co-owner of Cinch Cycling, and welcome to another episode of Effort. Today we're doing one of our Cinch Sunday Rides. Every week we get some of our local riders together and we work on a different objective. Last week we did a sub-5 century. This week we decided to get some of our riders that race together, and we're going to work on some different tactics. So come along.
On here today is that we're learning how to control a race and we're learning how to disrupt a race. So your team is learning how to control it without it falling apart, and you as the leader know what's happening the whole time, and Jim's trying to get his team to crack your team, right? Race aggressively. Okay, so this first drill we're going to divide into two teams. We're going to have a captain of John, the other captain will be Jim. Two J's, J squared. And what we're gonna do is 2 laps. The first lap, we're gonna have John's team riding defense and Jim's team riding offense. So John, you're gonna be in charge of organizing your guys to control Jim's team. Jim's team's gonna be Team Mayhem, and they are going to attack, right? So you guys are gonna pick strategy, where to attack, how often to attack. And then, John, you're going to control your team to either race negatively against them, so put guys in the move and not pull, or chase them down as a team. Okay? Good places to attack are crosswind, changes in speed, out of turns, and over the tops of hills. Got that, attackers?
Turns, crosswinds, tops of hills.
Any place that it's going to cost the other people the same energy as it is costing you attacking, right? A downhill headwind does not, for us, is easy to cover you. But if you attack me on the top of a hill from behind, I'm going to have to use at least the same amount of energy as you to cover you. Same as crosswind, same as out of a turn. Cool? Rode too fast at first, right? Sawyer's super strong or whatever, he's a pro, and then Dan, he just followed Sawyer, but like what ideally would have been to ride slower, because we want to spend the least amount of energy to control the race, right? We don't need to, so basically the reason why I got upset or told Dan to slow down is because Dan was one of our strongest guys. He's going super hard on the downhill, right? We need him in the end, which he was good. That was good that Sawyer covered Dean. Dean had a cheeky move, which was good right before the turn, which was great. That was a good move. Sawyer was late to respond, but then he got back up there.
Thank you for the captain's advice. That was good strategy by the captain.
Very good strategy. Great strategy. Disrupted us. We all came to a complete stop and almost crashed. And those guys got a big gap. Then behind, we rode tempo with our team, trying to keep John in there. They did great. Dan was really strong. John did a good job captaining it. In the end, I saw that we probably weren't going to catch the break, and we had Sawyer up there. So what I did is I had John sit up in the turn. We did the Saturn sit up in the turn and let Dan and John get a gap. We fanned out across the road.
I missed that. Nice, yeah, I love that.
We fanned out across the road, and then Jim and Ike had to jump around, and they're pretty gassed when they got
What's the Saturn sit up?
Well, we were pulling in the chasing the break, and then in the corner, the two of us dropped the anchor in the middle of the turn and opened up the gap for John and Dan. and then we moved out in the road so Jim couldn't get around us.
Why is it called the Saturn sit-up?
Just when we were in Saturn, we did it all the time. We'd
guys
look like we were racing for one guy, doing a lead out for the sprinter, and then we'd sit up in the middle of a turn and split the team in half. And then the sprinter would be off the back, and they'd be like, "Oh, what happened? What happened?" And then we'd have our breakaway gone.
By the way, it totally works in local races. I did it on Koppenberg last weekend. There were only 4 of us, and on that hill, there's only one line. I let him go in front. I set up, pretended like I was going hard, and they had nothing. He had a huge gap, and he stayed away.
I thought about doing that here too when you were starting.
No, I kind of needed you to spell me there. I'm glad you didn't.
No, I meant after that.
Oh yeah,
Back up front.
No, it was. I have to say, it was terrific to see after I pulled hard to take the tempo up to make these guys work really hard if they're going to come around.
Yeah.
It was fantastic to see teammate Dan right there when I needed him.
Yeah, that was really good.
Super.
So I think for this next time, let's just go out and back on this road and make it longer, because that was pretty short, so it really didn't have very much time to materialize. And it was kind of a yeah. And then let's have the 2 strongest guys in more of a domestique role, I think. Because I think that would have been a lot more interesting had the other guys been up there, but the 2 strongest guys, you really put a lot of pressure on us back in the back. So. Breakaway, you were able to win the final cinch simulation for today. What were your tactics going into this?
We had 2 riders we wanted to protect, in John and Don, and so we had John in particular protecting Don. We had to keep all 6 together through the first 3/4 of it, and Vicky, Jim, myself, Ike were taking slightly longer pulls. And we had a little separation at one point. Everybody kept their cool though, and lots of headwinds at that spot.
I thought we did a good job in the crosswind and protecting you guys, where we stayed farther out to the left and allowed y'all to stay to the right.
Yeah, it was really nice and tight there. We had a lot of good wind protection with a tight line.
And we said we were going to break up right before the last hill, which is what basically happened. We took off. Wasn't
letting John know while you're gone.
And I passed you on the hill.
Yeah. And then we basically we kind of just went fastest person go for it on the hill into home, because it's not that long of a distance. And the pace line up that steep hill, the pace line was at that point just kind of good.
There's no sense in it anyway.
And
3 different race scenarios today. What do you think the biggest takeaway for you, maybe we'll do it individually, personally, that you learned today?
How important
teamwork.
well, no, not that, but not panicking. Yeah. If something doesn't go as the plan, just stay calm and just work through it instead of rushing to a fix that isn't necessarily the right fix. Like in the second race when they started before we were all together, you went off the front, but we weren't all together. I had 2 racers back here and 2 racers up here, and we had and I should have just pulled everybody together.
So I had the opposite learning, which was how important it is to mess with the other team's organization as early as possible. That worked way better than I thought it would ever work.
Yeah.
These guys, you didn't see it because you were head down and going, but they were struggling to get
riding
themselves
offensively.
organized. Yeah, well, that was good.
It wasn't quite fair because you had the first lap, you had a whole quarter mile.
Just get to the downhill. We get to the
It's
downhill.
very important to race the context you're given, I would say.
On that uphill.
So,
You guys have any takeaways from today?
I think think for me it was easier to race offensively. Like the defensive riding is a lot more work.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you're kind of used to riding offensively as opposed to defensively as a team. That's good observation.
Do your job.
Yeah, I was really not looking forward to being defensive on the way back.
Yeah.
I was really happy when he switched it up.
Do your job. I like it. Whatever your role is, stick to it. So guys, you lost. Unfortunately, you lost the last round to the breakaway of the Cinch race today. What were your guys' tactics?
So yeah, our tactics, we were 2 minutes down, and we had to make up 2 minutes in a head crosswind scenario. So we had to pull as hard as we could, really, honestly, to make that gap up. And sitting behind was a little bit easier, but still hard because of the crosswind. So we had to communicate. We ran into problems out there when some of us were pulling longer and harder in some of the crosswind sections, so we had to slow down a little bit, but all in all, I think we did a good job. We all did equal work, and in the end, Sawyer and I went full on the last 10 minutes and still came up short. They rode better.
Dean, we did 3 different race scenarios today. What do you think the biggest takeaway for you personally, or lesson, or advice, or whatever that you took from this?
I think you're stronger riding as a group than by yourself. So, with better organization, we might have been able to catch the race sooner.
It's like a more thought out plan beforehand of what's going to happen?
Less surges, you know? Like, not going to the front, pulling so hard. Just pulling nice and easy, but still pulling.
Through easy.
So hard
Keep the
that you
speed.
drop everybody.
Dan, what was your biggest takeaway?
I need to work on my control. I need to work on my role in the team so that way I'm doing the shit right. Together, we have a goal, not just one person.
Definitely. What was your biggest takeaway from today?
Don't underestimate your competition. We put the strongest guys on one team, and I thought honestly, I thought they were gonna have trouble staying together. I didn't expect them.
They were a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to work as well, so I underestimated them, and we came up short.
So, what did you learn today?
Always get more power.
More power. Get fitter. That's the answer.
I don't know. We had a lot of power.
Hi guys. So we just finished our Cinch ride. We're about to head inside and fuel up for tomorrow's ride. Thank you guys for watching, and we hope that you learned something new today. Tune in to the next episode of Effort.